What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to episode 5 of Bay 13. In this episode, we're going to go right into our first listener's question, and their question is, would you consider doing a more personal episode so we can get to know you better? My answer to this is yes. This current episode will be more personal and a little less educational, and if it does well and if you guys like it, let me know. Email me at bay13.wn@gmail.com, and we'll have to do this again. This personal update will be more of an audio journal type, and it might help you to get to know me a little better. Bay 13 started out as a project of mine, and I didn't think it was going to do so well. It was mainly to get me into the world of podcasting and radio. From everybody I've talked to, they all said they liked it so far, and overall it's been received very well. People are asking questions, which is good, and they're always fun to answer. I don't always answer them in the episodes because I usually do 1, maybe 2 questions. I do answer all the emails you guys send me. Truth be told, I actually intended this show to be 30 to 40 minutes long, but it ended up being 10 to 15 minutes, and I think this is a good length. It's not too short and it's not too long, and from what I've been seeing with our analytics, it's been just about the right length. Moving away from podcasts and going more into work in Bay 13, work's been going pretty good. It's been the slow season for the last couple months due to winter, but it's picking up as it's getting warmer and warmer. The last few weeks I've been under employee review, which kind of sucks. I'm not quite sure what it means. It's the first one I've done, but to my understanding it's fairly common and happens every couple months. As well as being on employee review, I also got moved from the green team to the red team, and both these teams got totally changed around, and I think that I was kind of just in the middle of everything. Being with the red team, in my opinion, is going to be far better. I'll be getting better work, and not only that, but the red team advisor is also one of my favorite advisors we have at the dealership. Moving on to school, the asset class that I'm taking has been going all right. For this term, it's all online classes, and so that's been really nice. And at the end of this term, I will officially be 100% free, and I won't be having to go to school anymore. While school is a good thing, and it's always great to learn, it definitely is a huge part of the frustration I have in my life. I think it's time for a topic change. We're going to be moving on to story time. In this section, I'll be telling a couple automotive stories I've had from school or work or kind of whatever else I think up. Staying kind of on the same topic as school, we're going to start out with a school story. The asset program is a very professional class, or at least that's what they want you to be. Honestly, we're a bunch of 20-something-year-olds looking for a way to make this class more entertaining and more fun. It does start at 7 in the morning. And if you live, 20, 30 miles away like most of the people in the class do, you have to get up way earlier than you would like. The class generally consists of 4 parts. The first part being the briefing, where we talk about what we're going to be doing that day. Theory, where we sit in class and try not to fall asleep while at the same time trying to learn and understand completely new topics. There's lab, where we put what we just learned in theory or didn't learn into practice. And last is the debrief, where we all meet in either the asset lot or the classroom and go over what we did that day and what we're going to be doing the next day. During lab in the asset class and also in the asset shop, we're all encouraged to wear our uniforms and speak politely or politically correct. It sounds good in theory, but asking a bunch of shop monkeys to talk correctly is like asking a monkey to type out Shakespeare. Eventually it'll happen, but it's not likely. Part of acting professionally is looking at what the shop manual tells you to do and then doing what the shop manual tells you to do. There isn't a lot of room for improvising, and at this point in our careers and learning, our teacher doesn't want us to improvise. But as always, some people have been working on cars since they were 6, some people just started a few months ago, and eventually everybody is going to find a way around something. People in our class ended up finding ways to do things or fix things faster than the book, but sometimes it got pretty sketchy. And it got so bad our instructor started calling us shade tree mechanics. For those of you that don't know what a shade tree mechanic is, it's a mechanic that works under this shade tree, usually out in a yard or a field. It's generally used to explain the wrong way to go about things. Eventually, our instructor went out and bought a 6-foot potted tree, and every time we did something he considered quote-unquote shade tree, He would put the tree on our table, and we would have to work around it. It's always fun to explain to the people taking tours of the college why there's a tree in an automotive shop on the table. And trust me, we've had that conversation quite a few times. Acting professional in the shop usually lasted about half a day, and then the swear words just came right back. One of the students thought it'd be a great idea to take an old coffee tin and write "swear jar" on it. Our teacher thought this was going to be a great idea because he all understands how many bad words we say a day, and put a $1 price tag on the jar. So every time you said a swear word, you had to put $1 into the jar. I'm not going to name names here, but one student contributed to at least a third of the jar just by himself. And I know that he did it partly because it was funny, and the other part, I just don't think he noticed or understood what was coming out of his mouth. Anyway, the class kind of turned it into a game and started to try and bait other students and even the instructor into swearing or getting frustrated enough to swear, so they'd have to put money in the jar. And this game lasted about 4 months before people started noticing that the tin was getting heavy. I'm pretty sure at the height of the jar, at least $25 to $30 a day was going into that jar. And while I did add my fair share of money into the jar, looking back, I think it was a great idea because this jar led to more pizza parties and barbecues than I've ever had in any other class at any other school. And something that started out so bad ended up being pretty good. The next thing I want to talk about is future goals. I don't have a ton of future goals, but a couple of them that I do have are to continue to work in Bay 13 and make a comfortable living, eventually get all my ASE certifications, and help people or entertain people as much as possible with the Bay 13 podcast. Another goal I have is I want to get to 1,000 listeners or downloads a week on this podcast, but that I think is a pretty distant future goal. An update with the podcast is Bay 13 was submitted and approved on Google Play Music, and it was submitted and is awaiting approval on iTunes. I will no longer be hosting on SoundCloud, and I will be using Podiant for hosting and uploading all of future episodes. That's going to wrap up this episode, and as always, don't forget to follow us at facebook.com/bay13.wn and email us at bay13.wn@gmail.com. We also, this last week, just got a Twitter, and tweet us at Bay13Podcast. Other than that, go ahead and follow us and subscribe on Google Play Music to get all the latest episodes downloaded directly to your phone or tablet or even your computer as soon as they get uploaded. So with that, we'll see you guys next Monday. Oh, I almost forgot. As well as the weekly podcast updates on Monday, there will also be a blog post every Wednesday on various topics. It could be an article I've written on driving, or it can be an update with the podcast, or a how-to, or kind of any of that stuff. So check it out. Let me know what you guys think. I can answer questions. Go ahead and email us at bay13.wn@gmail.com. And all the links to our Facebook, SoundCloud, Twitter, our email, and even that blog will be listed in the description. And with that, you guys have a great week, and we'll see you guys next here on Monday for another episode of Bay 13.